Hafere, Ali, Ranadim, Kasalele, Lengwo, Yakwe, Mogithin, and welcome to the One Micronesia Podcast. And in this episode, I want to dedicate it to a friend and a true Micronesian leader, Edmund Wengu, who passed away on August 20th, 2020.
When you finally make your entrance to that city.
Edmund Wengu, also known to many as Eddie Boo, was the definition of a true Micronesian leader. He was born on Guam on February 27, 1987, graduated an Islander at JFK High School in 2005, and in 2006 he moved with family to the East Coast, and later in the years moved to Hawaii. But a part of him was always here in Micronesia, where he called home. So in 2013 he moved back to Guam and found his calling. I had the opportunity to speak with some of his family members, friends, and colleagues. They had so many stories and memories about Eddie Boo.
I first met Ed in 2018 when I started with the organization, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Guam. And kind of when I first met him, you know, he just has this really infectious smile and laugh. And so, you know, I just kind of saw him as a very joyful person.
So the first time I actually met Ed was back in Pohnpeiian 2014. He was the one that came, checked up on me and Max Kepway at our little dorms that we were at.
He actually came out of nowhere, just came to pick us up for the purpose of, his appreciation of us sacrificing, our own time voluntarily just to represent Chuuk and all that,
Oh, so just random, man. The first time I ever met him, I was traveling to Las Vegas with the Guam national team. So I was walking through the terminal, and he used to work for United, I guess lived in Hawaii. So I just walked up, and he was at the desk. So I was asking him, I was like, hey, is it possible to switch my flight? Can you hook it up?
I met Ed in high school. We were friends prior to us working together, and I was glad I got the opportunity of working with him at the Micronesia Resource Center.
With a couple of guys, we went and hang out, we played volleyball practice, and then I came across this very jolly, always happy guy.
I saw the job announcement and I applied, and they called me, and he was the one that interviewed me.
I met Ed, it was through friends of friends, like in 2014 when I was still a university student.
When I first saw him, I was, his beard kind of took me aback. Yeah. And, and we've been working together ever since.
Yeah, the first time I met him, I was just very, very impressed when I met him. I thought, wow, this is a very smart young individual. He's a smart young guy, very well spoken, very well educated, and just seemed really, really on it. Like he was really ready to just help the people.
Ed is one of the pillar members of MRC that I first met him in action when the Guam Police Department first embarked with a partnership and the collaboration with Wengel and Micronesian Resource Center.
We brought Ed in. Here was a young kid, graduated locally, went off to the East Coast, and wanted to come back home and do something for his community. So, I mean, what's not to love about that? Back in 2018, I had moved on to another job. And Ed called me and asked, hey, we have an opening for our program director. If you know anybody, please let me know. And I was like, dude, why not you? And here was Ed, just as humble as he can be, saying, I don't have a degree. I don't have experience. I'm like, what experience do you need? And so I wrote this letter, and it was a recommendation letter, and I think it took him a while to really gain the confidence to apply for the job as program director of Micronesian Resource Center.
Ed had only been with the organization for not even a year. So he was there before me, but he had already really proven to the previous executive director that he had real potential for leadership, and he had already been promoted to a case manager position. Shortly after I had taken over the organization, the project director position opened up at the Micronesian Resource Center. And, kind of the couple of months of knowing Ed and kind of seeing, the leadership that he provided and seeing how like the team, really looked up to him, I knew that he was really perfect for the position.
I believed in him from day one. I'm a big believer in having people with a good mind, educated mind and an educated heart. You have one or the other, there's going to be failure, but you have both, man, you're unstoppable. And that was him.
He had the heart, he had the compassion, and he had the understanding of the needs of the community. He embedded himself with the community, and he embedded himself with a purpose.
He was doing a lot of good things. He was a great role model for young FAS and FSM youth to look up to.
I think his passion was evident in anything he did and with any of the organizations that he worked with. So I just really want people to always remember that passion and that caring and also that sincerity, right? You could really feel that. He wouldn't, there was no, I hope my language is not bad, but there was no BS, right, with him. And so I really appreciate that.
Visionary. I already said selfless, and I don't think I can ever stop saying selfless. He always puts others before him.
Even though at work, he treated us with equality. Everyone is equal.
Work could be very stressful, but with just working with him, he would make it he would make it like fun.
He gives not only 100%, he can go above and beyond the effort he brings to his work. He'll do 100 and he'll give you 150%.
Sacrifice was the biggest thing I'd see from Ed. Every time we'd come into the office, he'd be the first one there, but he'd also be the first one out to a meeting. Come back from one meeting, another meeting comes up, he's out. Come back in, come out. Most people, they're just like, oh, I gotta reschedule this meeting, and wanted to make sure it got done. Like, if he believed that if it was gonna be possible, he would have to sacrifice a whole lot, and that whole lot came from him. Just his physical being, his spiritual being, his whole mindset, and that was his work ethic, man. That's what kind of pushed the whole team to believe in what Edmund was trying to do. His vision of just trying to make a better Micronesia.
I always told him, I was like, bro, you're special, like you're gonna do a lot of things in the future. Just tough, man, because he has such a bright future, and he just had that personality that he could just adapt in any situation that he was in, and he could just vibe really well with everybody. It could be someone from Guam, from Chuuk, from different ethnicities, and you were always comfortable with him, and just hanging out was easy, and he was able to bring people together, and he made hanging out together easy.
But that guy just never stopped trying, never stopped caring. And no matter what success he had, he remained humble, I think there's a lot of us that just need that lesson in humility and service. And, don't just stand behind a polarizing political stance and say, I'm good because this is what I believe in and you're wrong and whatever. It's working together, and it's dialogue, and it's truly being there for each other. That's what community is about. And I think if one thing I learned from Ed, he was probably 20 years younger than me or so, but I learned a lot from him.
Ed was always coming up with ideas. Ed was always writing things down, and he always understood, the importance of our work and our partnership.
And so Ed played like an essential and like crucial part in doing that. So in kind of the reorganizing of the organization, we had gone through this course that was like a nonprofit improvement plan. And so, for 10 weeks we like met, and me, him, and another program manager met, every week to kind of discuss, how we were going to build the organization, to really combine all of the services that we put together. I want to say that Ed also, kind of, he helped us put together, our vision for the organization, which is a community of diverse cultures thriving together towards success. So, he was just such a big part of wanting to empower the community in all different kinds of ways. He helped us put together, the Micronesian Youth Forum. So we had that for the first year last year. And so with a partnership with GPD, they had kind of reached out to us, and saying like, how do we kind of talk to the kids about this? How do we reach them? And so, through discussions, he really kind of ran with the Micronesian Youth Forum and put it together, kind of organizing all of the different guests that we were going to be having, different breakout sessions, the panel discussions. He also, over the past 2 years, the office has really grown and thrived and been able to help more and more people. And that's through Ed's partnerships that he's been able to, kind of harness during his time as project director. The team always knew that if they were having a problem at like any sort of agency where there was a miscommunication, they could go to Ed and he would be able to, go to the right channels and like talk to people and say, hey, like this is actually, this is what the law actually says. So like you are required to, accept this document or things like that, and he's just always been, a cheerleader for the organization, a cheerleader for the community. Like just all of the amazing things that he's done. It's truly inspiring. Our organization does so much, and Ed was always there to kind of go to any of the events that we had. Sometimes we have last minute things and Ed was like, okay, no one else can go, like I'm there. And I'm like, okay, great. Like he was just always like ready to go, and he was always ready to like find volunteers because he wanted to get the FAS community involved. He wanted to have them coming out to volunteer. So he brought on a bunch of steady volunteers, and eventually some of them became employees when we had positions open up, and it was because Ed saw their potential, saw that these people, they can make a difference in our community, they can become role models for our community. Like let's reach out to those people and get them involved in making things happen.
Have a grip. Ready, set, go. I got it.
All right, everyone get under the stone trees. Woo! Let's go. Yeah. All right, everyone. I am the tiger. True teamwork right here. Yeah, let's go. Woo! He's over.
let's carry on the legacy, the good work that Ed tried to do, and all of that was, basically or essentially to improve the livelihoods of our FSM community here on Guam.
I think the best way to honor and remember people is really just to carry on their legacy. So if you knew that Ed stood for something, carry that on. Stand for that same thing as well. If you knew that Ed stood for helping our people better ourselves, doing outreach into the community and helping those in our community who are struggling, do the same thing. Carry on what he stood for. That's the best way to remember him.
Our people need our help, and we all need to, if we can help and we're in a position to provide any kind of support, no matter how little that support is, we need to be there. And Ed never gave up, and so the rest of us shouldn't give up as well.
We need to be better as people to work together, and if we give our honest effort every single day, and try to make our community better, that's really all we need to do. You could put Ed's short life on paper and all his accomplishments, and you don't say anything about his race, you don't say anything about his age, you don't say anything about his education, and you can say, man, I want to be like this guy, I want to live like this guy did, I want to do the things that he did. And then you put Ed's face there and you say, here's a young man who gave his all, and he gave from his heart, and he tried to change people's minds, and he realized it wasn't going to happen overnight, and he realized he wasn't going to do it alone. He needed partners. He needed people like Paul Tipau from GPD. He needed, people like Samantha from Manyetlu. He needed people from the Homeless Coalition. He needed the community members that said, hey, I like what you guys are doing, man, and we want to work with you. We want to see how we can help you spread your message. And the message for Ed was so simple. You spell Micronesia with the word one. One Micronesia.
Ed, my friend, brother, we miss you terribly, and the work will continue in your honor.
Man, Ed, we really miss you, but we understand it was your time. Everyone has a time, but you used your time wisely while on Guam, and you left a lasting mark and a lasting imprint on a lot of people and a lot of lives, and I think your legacy will carry on.
This is Chapoy. Thank you for everything, my brother.
I would tell Ed thank you for everything, and that we are going to miss you. We're going to miss him so much, and that I would tell him, oh my gosh, like it's time for you to take a break and to take a rest, and so just thank you for your dedication, and I hope that you continue to guide us and to motivate us in the team to kind of finish the work that you started, to we're here and we want to do right by you, and so just guide us, give us little signs along the way that we're kind of doing what you wanted us to do, and we'll truly miss you.
Thanks, Ed, for sharing your life with us, man. Thanks for teaching me a lot about myself and helping me in my development as a professional.
I don't even know, where to start. I just give him a hug and tell him, hey, everything is gonna be okay. And
the biggest thing was just tell him I love him, and we got this from here. We're gonna continue to have him live through us.
So our relationship is, you don't really need to say anything to each other. We can just already sense the vibe.
Last message. I hope I can go back to his house, man, and have my lunch breaks there. We always go to his house, and it's kind of hard. His house is just right next to our work, so I'm just gonna. I would text him, man. Text him, hey, open up your door. I'm coming. I'm on my way. And my message to Ed also is, man, this is just right next to mine. And I want to let him know that I'm still waiting for him to come back.
Sorry. Thank you for everything. I mean, he was also my cousin, which it wasn't. We just got to know each other for those 2.5 years. I wish I had known him before. So, Ed, don't call him.
I just wanna tell Ed thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for believing in me, Ed.
We love him. Thank you for everything you did for our family.
My message to him that I'm still here to support you. I miss him so much. I love you so much. I miss you so much. And I'll try to continue to work hard the way you always told me to help our community, because that's what me and you always talked about. Growing up, we always wanted to be the ones to make a difference, and you did, and I'll just try to continue that on.
Day family, my name is Melford James. This is my brother Brian Munya. I would like to dedicate this song to our brother Edmund Wengu. Such a loving and humble soul, and a great leader in the Micronesian community, especially to the Micronesian youth. We'd like to give our love and condolences to the family. And rest in love always, brother. Home is where the heart is, my heart's own home. Though I never really had one to call my own. Now I've been given a key by the carpenter of Galilee, with interest paid, the title's made to me. Home where there is no night, home where the sun's the light, the place I've been dreaming of so long. Loved ones there to welcome me, but his sweet face will be the first I see. When my journey's over, I am going home. Everybody dreams of going home, it seems. Lately I'm no exception to the home is so much more than windows, walls, and doors. It's a warm embrace where a smiling face is awaiting you. Home where there is no night, home where the sun is the light, place I've been dreaming of so long. Loved ones there to welcome me, but his sweet face will be the first I see. When my journey's over, I am going home. Home where there is no night, home where the sun's the light, the place I've been dreaming of so long. Loved ones there to welcome me, but his sweet face will be the first I'll see. When my journey's over, I am going
my journey's over.